Hello, in this video we're going to go over how to deploy a test in Blackboard. Deploying a test means making it available to students and also setting the test options for accessibility to the test. So let's get started. First, on our left side course menu, we want to click on the Assignments content area. And in the Assignments content area, under the title at the top, we want to hover over Assessments, and then we want to click on Test in the expanded menu. The Create Test page will appear, and since we've already previously created the test, we want to choose our previously created test, Example Exam 1. If you'd like to see how to create a test, please watch our other video on how to create a test. So now that we've selected our example exam, we can go ahead and click on the Submit button on the top or bottom right, and then we'll see a success message that says Example Exam 1 has been created. Now we can move on to editing the test options. The first section, Test Information, allows us to change the name, which we can do so if we desire, or add content to the description. We can also choose to open the test in a new window, and we're going to select No in this case. Moving on to test availability, we want to be sure to make the link available. By clicking Yes on this option, what we are doing is making the test available to students so that they can access it. Moving on, we're going to add a new announcement for this test. We can select Yes or No. We're going to go ahead and leave it on No. And if we'd like to allow multiple attempts, we can check the multiple attempts box, and we can allow either unlimited attempts or just a number of attempts that we choose. But in this case, we're not going to use that feature because we want to allow one singular attempt. Now we can select Force Completion, which means once started, this test must be completed in one sitting. And we're also going to select to add a timer to the test. So under the amount of minutes for the timer, we're going to turn Auto Submit on. And what this means is the test will save and submit automatically when the time expires. Next, we're going to move on to Display After and Display Until, and we're going to select the dates and the times for the test. So we can see here, we're displaying after 5/03/2017 at 5:40, let's go ahead and make it even, 5:45 p.m. And we're displaying until 5/03/2017 at 6 p.m. So what this means is that we're giving the students a 15-minute window to access the test. Also keep in mind, these settings only work if the Make the Link Available option is set to Yes. Otherwise, these dates will not work and the test will not display. Moving onward, we can enter a password if we choose to do so. And we also have test availability exceptions. Test availability exceptions allow you to add a user or group of students to retake or early access an exam apart from these dates that you've already set. So say a student needs another attempt, we can add it here. If a student completely misses the exam and needs to take it a couple days later, that can also be added here. Next, we move to due date. We can add a due date to see if the test was taken late. If it was available the whole time and the student took it, we can add a due date for that. And we could also use the due date to restrict students' access to the test if the due date has passed. We want to be sure to include this test in Grade Center score calculations. And we come to Show Test Results and Feedback to Students. Currently, it's set by default to after submission, but you have one-time view on a specific date or after due date included in this as well. And we can choose to show the score per question after the submission, all answers, correct answers, submitted answers, or we can show incorrect questions. And we can select these, all of them, or we can select none of them, or just whichever ones we want. And finally, this brings us to the test presentation. We can select to display all the questions at once, or we can choose one at a time. If we have chosen one at a time, we can always choose prohibit backtracking to prevent the students from going back to an earlier question once they've answered it. And then the final option would be to randomize the questions. This will randomize the questions for each test attempt, so it will never be the same order. Alright, to save these changes, we can go ahead and click Submit in the bottom right-hand corner. And we can see a success message at the top, seeing Example Exam 1 options edited. And we can see that the exam has been deployed in our content area, and that the availability says the item is not available and it will be after May 3rd, 2017 at 5:45 p.m., which this was our display after date, which means it will display after May 3rd at 5:45 p.m. until 6 p.m. that same day. And this concludes how to deploy a test and make the test available to students in Blackboard. Thank you for watching.